What's up, world? It's your boy Jaron Ikner back again with another video for Starstruck TV. This time I'm talking about Jay Electronica's highly anticipated 10-year in the making album. I guess not in the making, but 10-year long overdue album, Act 2, The Turn. Now, I will say this. If someone would have told me that Jay Electronica was going to drop not one, but two albums, and one of those albums was a 10-year-old album that was considered to be one of the most highly anticipated albums of all time, but then never was released, I probably would have slapped you in the face. With that said, I was underwhelmed with Jay Electronica's release of A Written Testament. You can go check out my review and written reaction, live reaction on the Starstruck TV page. With that said, I was not expecting the events to transpire that we saw, which was the fact that Act 2 was leaked to the internet because someone offered someone who had a 10K. And I actually saw the post on Reddit, SoundCloud link, hopped on YouTube, listened to the album as soon as I saw that it was leaked when I was driving home, and I was mind blown. One thing that I think is always interesting about Jay Electronica is the fact that he's not really a fan of drums. And he gets made fun of for that a lot. People are like, oh, you know, Jay Electronica is afraid of drums, etc., so forth. But the reason why I really like Jay Electronica is the fact that his voice is almost like a drum kit. He has a very distinct flow. It's almost the same flow on every single thing that he does. But the flow is almost so syncopated with all the samples that he uses that it almost feels like its own drum pattern. His bar game, top notch. I'm very impressed with Jay Electronica rapping on this album. I have to give it a deeper listen to really dissect the bars on here, but I found myself thoroughly impressed with his rapping abilities. The track Road to Perdition, which features a sample from Jay-Z, and one of the few songs on the album that has an actual boom bap beat to it, fire. And what's interesting about this track is that the sequencing brings this track pretty late in the album. I want to say it's like track 8 on the album. And beforehand, you really don't get a lot of drums. You have a lot of soul samples, not even just soul samples, but just really intricate, beautiful samples that really captivate you. And arguably, I know you guys like to argue with me, I would say Jay Electronica's sample game is probably one of the best in hip hop history. That's along the side of like Jay Dilla, Kanye West, etc., so forth. There's many more. I'm sure you guys will chime in. But this album kind of is a testimony to his ability to find not just the right sound for him, but a sound that is unique and interesting. He's not rapping over like synthesizers or trap beats or typical sample chops or anything like that. He's letting the sample right out. There's one track in particular where he has a vocal sample of a commercial for the Dick Tracy wristwatch, and he just lets the whole sample play out. And it's a very interesting sample. And as I was listening to this track for the first time, I at first I was like, Jay Electronica's wild. Why would he do this? But then after I thought about it, I'm like, man, it's like this palate cleanse, something that kind of resets your brain. In a way that is different from what most artists are trying to do musically right now, especially in hip hop. Because in hip hop, there's a formula. You got your album, you got your love songs, you got your club hits, you got your trap songs. There's all these I wouldn't call them stereotypes, but tropes and archetypes that exist in hip hop music, especially nowadays where everything's more modernized and much more concise. Act 2 basically kind of breaks that mold. And this is something I've always admired about Jay Electronica as an artist, is the fact that he really does not care about what you think about his music. He's very, very particular about remaining true to not only his lyrical prowess, but also his production integrity. He uses that damn cheer, applaud, and hand clap noise on a lot of his songs. It's like his signature stamp. But what's interesting about this album, in contrast to A Written Testament, is the fact that it really is all him. I don't think there's really any guest features on this album. I think it's pretty much all him. versus the contrast of Written Testament, which had Jay-Z on every single song. There were drums on a lot more tracks, things like that. But keep in mind that this album is 10 plus years old. He's working on this album. It was supposed to be come out in 2012, I believe. But this album, according to Jay-Z, was sitting in Jay-Z's car for years. He was listening to it over and over again. He came out and said it's one of his favorite albums of all time. There was a lot of hype and a lot of rigmarole about this album. And with that said, I think the album lives up to that. And I'm pleasantly surprised. Like I said, if you asked me in 2020 who I thought might be the artist of the year, rap-wise, I probably would have said Kendrick Lamar. But I think it's actually Jay Electronica. This album probably will get nominated for a Grammy. If he decides to submit it, I'm not sure if they're going to even go that route, honestly. But if they decide to submit this album, it probably will get a Grammy. I personally think that as of right now, this is the hip-hop album of the year. Act 2, Turn, Jay Electronica. Now, the year's not done yet, obviously. But, you know, it's October now. There's rumors that Kendrick Lamar might be dropping here soon. Drake announced the album. There's a lot of artists who are kind of under the surface who might come out. But I don't think that any of these albums, except maybe Kendrick Lamar, who is known to push the creative threshold, I don't think any of these albums are going to touch the creative prowess of this album. Especially Drake. I'm not expecting Certified Lover Boy to come out and blow my mind creatively. More so kind of pushing the boundaries of the mainstream formula that already exists. Very excited to see what happens though. But right now, like I said, 2 Jay Electronicas in 2020, or sorry, 2 Jay Electronica albums in 2020 is insane. If you haven't heard Act 2 yet, I think it's on Tidal now. There's links on YouTube, SoundCloud. Really crazy year. Crazy year. Jay Electronica, a front runner for me as artist of the year right now. But let me know what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Should I shut up? Should I keep doing these videos? Who else should I review? What else should I talk about? Let me know. I'm trying to do more and more videos on YouTube, but I'm actually in the middle of making a film right now called The Bond. Because as some of you may know, I'm a director. I be doing stuff on the side. So I haven't been on Star Trek TV as much doing stuff. And I do apologize for that. I'll try and be more active. If you are interested in seeing what I'm doing outside of this, please go check out my channel, Jaron Ikner. There's probably a link in the comment section, or sorry, the caption section. Click on that. You'll see some videos that are vastly different than me talking about Jay Electronica and Nas. More so in the film world and video game world. Hopefully you enjoy it. If not, it's cool. I'll see you around. One love, stay safe. Hope you're washing your hands and avoiding all the BS out there. Peace.